Hello, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode number 301 for March the 4th, 2025. And I hope you had a good weekend, and I hope you're having a good week, and I hope you're being creative, and yeah, I just hope. So let's take a look at what I'm working on right now. Oh yeah, it's the Barnstar Sampler, or as I'm calling this one, my latest quilt from hell. Walter said on Saturday or on Sunday on the live, he says, don't you always have a quilt from hell? And yeah, I suppose I do. But this particular one, actually, it's going together fine. It just feels like it's never going to end. I don't know what it is about it. Maybe because there's so many different blocks. And, you know, I've got a lot of the blocks made now, but mind you, there's 2 of every one of these blocks that's up here. So I finished up to block 7 now. And I thought, well, I must be in close to the end. So I flipped through the pages on the book. That's the first thing. When a pattern comes in a book, and it's one pattern, you know it's going to take you a while, right? Or you should kind of consider that. I didn't. There's 20 blocks. Yeah, I'm not even halfway there yet. So I'm hoping the future blocks down the road are getting smaller and, you know, less complicated. It will be a gorgeous quilt when it's done. I just have to keep telling myself that. And many of you, because I mentioned this yesterday on my vlog, many of you wrote to me and said, yep, just persevere. It'll be worth it. Thanks for the encouragement. It just doesn't hold my interest like other projects. And in fact, I have sort of semi-started another project. I'm got out one of my dies from my AccuQuilt set that I haven't taken out of the package and have probably had for over a year. And the die, that is. I mean, I do use the AccuQuilt, especially when I'm making border pieces or strip pieces and things like that. I will use it a lot for that. But having said that, I sort of stockpiled a whole lot of different dies for future projects, and I still have some of those dies that are in the original packaging, haven't been taken out. So I took one out yesterday. I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm kind of, it's a fairly intricate pattern. Tree of Paradise, I think it's called, or something like that. And it's a neat looking block. It's a traditional block, but a very complicated traditional block. And I'm thinking I may make several of them and make them into a bed runner. Mainly because right now, since we got the new bed that rises up and lowers down, and all that good stuff, vibrates. That's a story for another day. But we had to take our footboard off the bed frame because it doesn't accommodate for a footboard. And that took a little time to get used to. But I've noticed that the quilt that I do have on the bed is a little short at the bottom. Yeah, so it doesn't drape quite enough. So I'm really thinking this one, the Barnstar Sampler, may be the quilt for the bed when I get it done. But when I get it done, who knows, it could be next year by the time I get this sucker done. So in the meantime, I'm thinking, well, if I made a sort of a bed runner that's big enough to, you know, just it'll go over top of the quilt, but at the foot of the bed, and I'll make it wide enough so they're long enough so that it will drape over the end of the bed and kind of disguise the fact that the quilt that's on the bed is a little short. That's my theory. Probably not the best way to do these kind of things. It'd be better if the quilt was actually the right size, but it's not. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen or not. I have even another idea as well. Wasn't really going to talk about this, but I'll talk about it now because I just had this idea this morning when I woke up at about 4:45 and laid there and decided, do I want to get up or should I lay there? So I laid there for 15 minutes and got up. But anyways, while I was laying there and my brain was going, as you know, these things happen, I got thinking, well, I got a lot of orphan Lemoyne star blocks. Now that was another die that I had for a long time. And I made a whole bunch of those blocks and I was going to make them into a quilt. And I found that a little tedious, that die as well. And I lost interest in doing that, so I put them in my box of orphan blocks. But now I'm thinking maybe I could pull some of those out and incorporate them into this like bed, what I'm calling a bed runner now. I don't know. It's a thought. And when I get thoughts like that, I get excited because that's really tapping into my creative side, where I like to experiment a lot. Whether or not the experiments work, well, that's a different question. But yeah, so stay tuned. I'll let you know on how things are going with all of that. But in the meantime, I have this sucker as well to work on. So never, never bored. Never bored. Okay. So, excuse me. What's happening? What's coming up? Well, we have, of course, Sewing with Stephanie even on Wednesday, as always, 9 a.m. start. That's Eastern Time. And we run until about 4. All are welcome. Links in the show notes. And come and go as you please. What else is coming up? Pop-up Sew Day this Saturday. Now, those of you on my mailing list, you got your personal invitations yesterday to your email box. But for those of you that aren't on my mailing list, don't know why, but but it's not a necessity, really. What was I going to say? Ooh, I have coffee because I think I just lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, it's back on the track. Okay. So you don't need to be on the mailing list to get the link. It is a Zoom day. It is a virtual sew day. It's kind of Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen on Wednesdays, except it runs a little longer. We start at 8 in the morning, run till about 5 in the afternoon. And I put it on Saturdays when I have the pop-up sew days because it accommodates for those people who might, poor suckers, are still working. Not all of us are retired. I am. Love it. Yeah. But, I realize that some people just during the week to come to a sew day is not possible. So I offer this every now and then. So and what I just said is more or less for the new people that have subscribed here. And I have some new subscribers, quite a few actually, and welcome. If I didn't give you a personal warm welcome when you came in, don't think I'm ignoring you. I have a lot of comments come in on my videos and a lot of emails, and sometimes it's just very difficult to, answer each one. I try, though, to get to the ones that, are asking me a specific question or something like that. If I can answer it, I will. Okay, so I'm right off the track today, I'm telling you. So Pop-Up Sew Day this Saturday, March 8th. Link is in the show notes. It's a private Zoom. It will not be recorded or anything like that. Come and go as you please. Work on whatever. Have a good time. Because it always is a good time. Okay. Something else. Yeah, I did a guild presentation this week. A virtual one, actually. And that was with the Ganaraska Quilt Guild. They're a guild in my area. Lovely ladies. Very lovely ladies. And I think it went over okay. I was a little nervous, making sure the technology all works and everything like that. Although with Zoom, I use Zoom all the time, so I'm pretty familiar with it. But anyways, I think the ladies enjoyed what I had to say. And now I think I reported incorrectly, and it was my bad. And the president of the guild, who's also a subscriber, let me know that yeah, I kind of reported how many people were there. I thought there was only maybe about 10 to 12. No, there were 27 people there. And I am so sorry that I underreported that. Here's what happened. If you're familiar with Zoom, you get the gallery view. Everybody's up there. But I was doing a screen share. And when I do a screen share, I can't see the people. It fills up my whole screen. So for some reason in my head, even when I took that down, I guess because I was concentrating on answering questions and things, and that's my story and I'm sticking to it, I, for some reason, lodged the number 12 in my head. There were more than that. There were 27. And I thank the guild for their turnout, and I'm so sorry I underreported how many were there. It happens. Okay, I guess. I don't have any other excuse for it except that I'm an idiot. So there you go. I do have another guild presentation for the Trent Valley Guild. Now that one's an in-person one. That one I'm a little uptight about because I asked them, approximately how many do they expect to be there? And I thought, 25 to 30. No, 70 to 80. Yeah, I'm in a hall. And oh, yeah, this is where I'm really worried about the technology. They have a setup there that sounds good, but I'm bringing my stuff too, a backup for it. Um, because I think I've said it before, for sure that anytime you depend upon technology, that's when it will let you down. So yeah, I'm a little nervous about this. I'm not. It's not getting up in front of people that makes me nervous. I have no problem with that. I mean, that's what I did for a living, right? As an English teacher. But it's different when you're trying to manipulate technology and talk and stay on track. I have a little app that's on my cell phone that will allow me to operate my slides, and as the slides come up on the screen, I don't have to look at those. I can look at my phone and I have all my notes for each slide right there. um, I hope this works well because I've tried it out and experimented with it, and I really like it. So I think it should work well. It beats having a piece of paper in front of you. And, if I had done this presentation umpteen million times, wouldn't be a problem. I'd just rattle it off. But since this will only be the second time that I've done the presentation, and when I did it the first time, well, I had my notes and everything right in front of me. But because of the beauty and the magic of Zoom, I could look at the audience, but I was really looking at my notes. Yeah, letting in on new secrets here. Um, so, anyways, we'll see how that all works out, and I'll tell you. I'm looking forward to it, but as I said, I'm a little nervous too. Okay, so what's that take me to? Yeah, so Chatty. Last week we have done part 3 now, which was stitching out the other panels, and we also showed you, Walter and we showed you how to sew the panels together. Now there are 6 panels. They make the front and the back, so 3 in each. That's the top part of the bag. So this week we're going to work on the bottom and probably the handles. Might even get into the lining. Not really sure how long these things will take us. So that's what's coming up next. And when we work on the bottom, we're going to be using faux leather. And I have never worked with faux leather before. So this will be something different. Yeah, something different. So that's coming up this Friday on So Chatty. Okay, let's see. Yeah, something else I'm going to show you here that I made. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention this. This is one of the blocks with the Barnstar sampler, and if you take a look at it, there's a mistake in it. Now, I didn't notice the mistake, but several of you did, and you mentioned it to me. Thank you. Even Walter didn't catch it, but then he wasn't down here studying the design wall. He likes to save finding my mistakes until I get the whole quilt done, and I can't do anything about it at that point. Yeah, he's a sadistic bugger. Anyways, yeah, that bottom row, that is wrong. That little tealy green square should be up closer to the center if you see how the other ones went. I have fixed it. That was an easy fix, but I'm so glad somebody spotted it. Several of you spotted it and let me know, because otherwise I would have just gone along my merry way with this quilt from hell and never noticed it, and then I'd be really pissed off with myself after I got the whole quilt together, and then Walter went, "What happened here?" So thank you for that. Okay, let's move on. This little disaster. It's not horrible. It is a wine bag, in case you didn't know. It was an in the hoop pattern design. Okay, very simple. Used a jelly roll, few strips from a jelly roll, and it basically did a little bit of quilting. It's hard to see it in this picture, but there's a little bit of quilting in each one of those strips of two. That's the machine did that as well. But what I didn't like about this was how they did the lining and how the assembly of the bag. I thought it was backwards from the way I've done tote bags before that I learned how to do it. I got it to work, but the other problem with this is the opening. When you're doing the top stitching around the top, I don't have a free arm machine, and I think even if it was on a free arm, it might not be much better because that was a tight hole to get into. And I'm telling you, it really was a pain in the butt. So that little yellow part at the top is actually part of the lining. It's not supposed to be hanging out over the top of it, although it does add a bit of a dimension to it. But no, didn't like this pattern. Won't do it again. Don't recommend it at all. The handles were a pain in the butt. The handles, what they had you do is they had you do those in the hoop too. Now, most tote bags that I've ever done before in the hoop do not include the handles. You do the handles whatever way you want to do them. Usually, you know, with the folding over of the fabric and stitching down on it and all that. This one decided it wanted to get fancy and use some of those leftover jelly roll strips to go across and make the handle. Okay, fine and dandy. And then it did a little bit of quilting on the top of the handle. So you made the handle into a tube. When you took it off the machine and you folded it right sides together and you stitched, they said, 1/2 inch down from the edge of the fabric. Fine and dandy. Well, that made a really small tube. And there is batting in this tube as well. In fact, you've got a double layer of batting because you fold it over. It was, so you had all of this in a tube and you had to turn the tube right sides out. Whoa, that was not easy. Now, I've turned tubes before, and yes, I know there are many different methods for turning tubes. And I looked them all up on YouTube because the one I usually use was not working. Long story short, and a lot of frustration and cursing, I got the damn thing turned out. And then it just went downhill from there even further with what I said, the way that they had you attach the handles and the lining and the whole bit. Not good. It really needs to be rethought. And on top of it all, and this is a Sweet Pea design, I swear there was a part missing because they had you attach one handle, but you didn't attach the other side. And there was nowhere in the instructions where I could find when you were supposed to do that. So I did it my way, got it to work, but yeah. And lately I have been finding this with Sweet Pea's designs. They're getting sloppy. I've written to them about this. They never acknowledged it, which I figured they wouldn't. Most companies won't acknowledge when they've had a mistake. And I was nice. I wasn't bitching at them. I just thought they'd like to know. Most of the mistakes I have found have been in the numbering of things. They're not numbered correctly, the order, which for someone like me who's done a lot of these, it's not major. It's an annoyance, but it's not a problem. But for somebody that's never done an in the hoop type of project like this, it could be disastrous. And they might never want to do one again if that was their first one. And I told them that in the email. They never acknowledged it whatsoever. They're out in New Zealand. They probably figure, who cares? You're in North America. Screw you. But anyways, just a warning here. Most of their patterns I have done in the past, I have not had any problems with. But lately, some of the ones that I have picked up, I don't know if they're newer ones or they've been around for a while. They were new to me. It's like someone doesn't bother to proofread. And they cut and paste a lot of the instructions. Well, I get the cut and paste. That makes sense because a lot of these things are done in the same way. So why reinvent the wheel? But their numbers, their steps, their thread numbers, and like in their stitching order, are out of whack. And easy fix, just proofread to make sure it's there. This one, that wasn't its problem. It was just the design. That, no wonder it was on sale, really. I think it cost me $2. So yeah, don't recommend it. Don't put yourself into that situation. And to be quite honest, the reason I did it was because I've been looking for a wine tote that's an in the hoop project. And this is the only one I have found. There are wine bags if you do a search for those, but they're usually these bags that just have a drawstring in them and they just pull up over the bag. I wanted a tote with a handle the whole bit, like a tote bag, but for size of a wine bottle. Now at Christmas time, I made my own from an existing tote bag pattern. And what I did was I made a double bottle bag simply by not sewing one of the panels for the tote bag into it. And that made it the size that I wanted. And it looked fine. The particular design I picked was not a continuous design, so I didn't have to match up pieces, so it didn't look like anything was missing when I didn't do one of the panels. So I guess that's a way to get around it. But yeah, this one, no. It sucked. What can I say? It sucked. Okay, something else I did this last Wednesday. I was working on the Barnstar sampler. I was getting bored. And I use the alphabet clips, right? That picture, really. Let's see if we can blow part of it up so we can get a closer look at what I'm talking about. Okay, there you go. So I had some strips left over from something that I had done at one time. And I think they're 3.5-inch strips or something like that. I put a piece of batting down between 2 layers of these 2 strips, one on the front, one on the back. And then I took it and I put it on my serger. Actually, I sewed it down first. I did a 1/4 seam allowance all the way around to hold the pieces together. And I was thinking, well, I could put binding on it. That would be okay. And I thought, bother, why put binding on this the whole bit? I have a serger. And that's what you see. And I put it into a very tight serge stitch and just went all the way around it, and that finished it off quite nicely. And now it holds my clips. Before I was holding the clips on the edge of plastic boxes that I had made on my 3D printer, but I found those were very awkward. Also, I couldn't see very clearly which clips I didn't have, like when I was putting things back. Whereas this one, let me put it back out a little further here. There we go. So this one, they're just all lined up along here, and it's just easy. I hang this. Actually, you can see it behind me. There it is. It's hanging up on my design board over by the side of the Barnstar sampler blocks. And yeah, it's portable because it just hangs on a ring on hooks, and I can easily see my clips, grab them, put them on, put them back. Presto. Now, this idea is not original to me. It was mentioned to me by one of my subscribers, Sue, who comes to the Sew Days on a regular basis. And she mentioned that that's kind of the thing that she did. So I thought, oh, good idea. Let's go for it. And right now, it's working out fine. And I have room for expansion if you take a look at the bottom here. Yeah. So that was something else that I made this week. And I made something else. Using the 3D printer, I made this basket for fat quarters. Of course, I put one of my signature gnomes on it, and I didn't take a picture of it from the side, but there are handles on this. This was an experiment with my 3D printer to see if I could do this. And yeah, and so it sits on my shelf. It's kind of a decorative item with, you know, some fat quarters in it. Is it practical? Not really. It's more decorative than practical, but you know, it serves a purpose right now, and I had fun making it. So those are some of the things I've been up to this week. This is going to be a long one today because I'm rambling. Okay, let's jump right in then to the subscribers quilt of this week. This comes from Christine McKean, and we've seen some of her lovely creations on the Idiot Quilter before, and here is another one for you to enjoy. This week's creation comes from Christine McKean, and Christine sends us not a quilt this time, but she sent us one of her beautiful creations as a bag. And this bag is absolutely gorgeous, and it's so professionally done. And I think a lot of that, not only because of the skill of the sewist, but also the fabrics that were used. And she writes, I wanted to share this bag I made from Blue Calla. You mentioned being interested in sewing with cork and vinyl on Stephen and Walter Live. The bag is vinyl with plain cork on the handles and pattern cork on the front. I used a jeans needle to stitch with. Thought this might be interesting to see. Well, it is. It's definitely interesting to see. And I have not yet, but I'm about to use some faux leather in the bags that we're doing on So Chatty right now. But I haven't worked with cork at all. And I really like what you've done here with the cork, how it really enhances the body of the bag. And I like the added detail of the zipper on the front. And I noticed underneath your handle, it looks like you have your initials as well, which is a nice little personalized touch too. So absolutely beautiful bag, right up there with Gucci, I think. And thank you, Christine, for sharing it with us all. And speaking of enjoying quilts, Alex Anderson of the Quilt Show, every week she has a live YouTube presentation she does. And this week she talked about or last week she talked about the quilts that were on display at QuiltCon. And I think, were they at QuiltCon? No, these were not QuiltCon ones. I'm sorry. I think she has one of those videos up right now. No, these were quilts she called Quilts You Need to See. And I think they were ones from people that she had gotten pictures of from the past or wherever. I'm not really sure where the source was. I think she tells you in the video, but I can't remember. But some very beautiful quilts and great inspiration. So here's what I'm talking about. This week's YouTube video clip comes from Alex Anderson live. Alex Anderson, if you do not know, is part of the Quilt Show, which is a great subscription channel. And if you've never checked it out, you should. And she is on that every week with Ricky Timms. And the two of them are famous quilters. In fact, my very first quilt was a pattern by Alex Anderson. And I like to tune into what she has to show every now and then. And this is one of those occasions. She calls it Quilts You Need to See. And definitely that is very true. These are fantastic quilts. There's so many different techniques that have been used, and the workmanship, the craftsmanship, the quilting, the whole bit are just absolutely inspiring when you see it. I should only be able to do a quilt like this on my own. I will never reach this level, is what I'm really trying to say. But nevertheless, they are inspiring, even if they are a little intimidating. But it's beautiful. And so if you want to take a half an hour and look at beautiful quilt creations while you enjoy a cup of tea or coffee, then this is the video for you. Alex Anderson Live, Quilts You Need to See. Okay, so there's links for those, for all the stuff I've already talked about, plus Alex Anderson in the show notes below. Okay, so future projects. Well, I'm on this bag making kit with my embroidery machine, as you know. And so this is another Sweet Pea design. I mean, I like Sweet Pea designs. Don't get me wrong. And they have lots to choose from, especially in the hoop tote bags. And I had to have this pattern. I'm going to make it soon. I got looking it over the other day. It has a feature on it that I have never done on a bag before, and it's this flap that secures the bag closed, but also you can use it for storage. There's a zipper in it. It's kind of unique. Here's what I'm talking about. I'll show you the pattern. This week's future project is another in the hoop bag, and I'm into these a lot lately, and it comes from Sweet Pea Designs. It's called the Gnome Bag. Of course, I have to do a gnome bag. And I really like the design of this because it's got the little flap that goes over the top to close the bag, which is something I have not seen on a bag before, not an In the Hoop project bag. And in fact, I bought this when it was on sale, and you can see the price. It's still on sale for about half price. That's in Canadian dollars, so even cheaper for the Americans. And the little flap that they're showing on the front of this bag for closing it, you can actually get that file from Sweet Pea Designs separately. So if you want to add it to any bag, you can. And I've done that. I haven't yet created a bag with that on it, but I think I'll use this particular design as my starting point for trying that out. Of course, Sweet Pea usually has videos as well about their bags, and they have great instructions for most of their projects and take you through it step by step with visuals. They also show you customer versions of what they've created. For one here, it looks like it's done in faux leather or cork. So really a nice design, and I think this one will be fun to create as well. You can have a lot of fun with your fabrics and your colors for this. So I'm looking forward to working on this very soon. I don't know, I might even actually do a small video series on making this bag because of this little extra feature of the closure. So that's the Gnome Bag by Sweet Pea Designs. So there's a link for that if you're interested in giving that a shot in the show notes as well. Okay, so besides all the things I've already been talking about, what have I been working on this week? Well, here's what I've been working on. So what do I have to show you that I've been working on this week? Well, right now, the printers are all silent, but they haven't been this whole weekend because I've been making a whole lot of things, and I will show you some of these things I've been making. I reorganized my little display area of my 3D prints because I discovered that I can make these boards at the back. See this yellow one and then this blue one and the little shelves from. Now this is based on the IKEA Skadis system, which is basically a pegboard system, but my printers were able to make these. And so I used to have little wire shelves that were meant to go into your cupboard for, you know, putting your cans up on a tier level, that kind of thing. And I didn't really like that look. So I created these and put them on, and I think this makes this little display look very nice. I mean, I have way too many 3D prints in this room, as you can see, and I'm sure you've seen all of this in some of my other videos. And this is my Doctor Who wall right here. And this is my, well, I don't know, this was one of the first walls I started to put up. I was thinking of redoing this, but I don't think I will. I think I'll leave it. I like it. Then I've got this. I need to thin this out a little bit. It's getting a little junky here. Yeah, I need to do some thinning out. And speaking of thinning out, future project, I should tackle what's up here on the top, because that's a whole bunch of things left over from my paper crafting days. Although I really like those items. They're little houses too, so I don't know, but I'll bet you they're covered in dust. I can tell you that because that has not been dusted in years. So what else have I been working on? Well, of course, for So Chatty, working on the bag. Those are some of the sections. And in this box is all my pieces for and my fabrics for the Barn Star Sampler. And I already showed you that. And it's on my wall here. It's coming, it's coming. I did make this week too for holding all of my alphabet clips, number clips. That was just a little palette cleanser. And these are the things that I've been printing all weekend long. These are keychains, and they will have a gnome on them. And I'm giving these out as a gift when I do my next guild presentation. And yeah, I figured that the guild asked them approximately how many people they expect to show up. And I thought, 25, 30. Oh no, they told me 70 to 80. So I already had about 40 of these all done. There's more things to go on the end of them. I'll show those to you sometime later. But I need to make, I want to have 100 So yeah, busy making all of those. What else have I been working on? Well, I think that's about it. You saw the Haunted Mansion. I really love that. I want to make another one of that creator's type of thing as well. And well, there's always 3D prints to be had. So yeah, it's been a week of creativity. Next week it's going to be a week of cleaning because I really need to do some house cleaning, and I really need to do some deep cleaning of my kitchen and even this area in here. So yeah, maybe that's when I'll get started on weeding out a few of these extra 3D prints that I don't really need. Oh, yeah, I reorganized my filaments as well because I've been buying a lot of bamboo filament, as you can see. Yeah, do you think I'm obsessed? I would say that I'm obsessed. So that brings me to this week's online quilt store. This one is called Quiltful. This week's online quilt store is located in Bobcaygeon, Ontario, which is a rural area in southern Ontario. And I've never heard of this one before, so let's explore it together, shall we? So right off the bat on their home page, you can see they have their menu at the top of the screen. You can switch over from Canadian dollars to other currencies as well. And they're have a pre-order going on for Coastal Calm by Cloud9 Fabrics. Kind of an interesting looking series, and it's $5.50 Canadian, so I imagine that is $5.50 a quarter meter. Check that out in a moment. You can sign up now for the Family Travel Organizer class. So I guess you're making this. That's an interesting looking little folder. As well. Jingle Bell Sewing Club. So they have a sewing club, 5 club meetings, February to June. $15 to join that. They have embroidery classes, intro to hand embroidery. So they're showing you some of the classes that they offer and featured collections as well. They do have a long arm service too. And then they're showing some more of their fabrics, and they have a clearance section and some notions and a gift card. And yeah, I do not see a section telling us about their shipping, but we'll discover that, I'm sure, as we go on. So let's jump right into their fabrics and see how these are organized. Kona Solids, fabric collections with a pull down menu for that. So they have a lot of collections. Again, you have to know the name of a collection you're looking for specifically. That's not something that appeals to me because I never remember the collection names, but if you do, it's there. They have blenders, batiks, flannels, holiday, pre-cut and bundles, quilt kits, and wide backs. Okay, so they do not have a section that says quilting cotton, which bothers me. I guess the only way you're going to find this is you're going to have to go into the collections mode. So let's see, do any of these ring a bell for me? Well, I do like Benertex fabrics, so let's check that out and see what they're offering. Oh, this is kind of a nice collection. I kind of like that, very modern. $5.50 Canadian. Well, let's just check this. I suspect that is a quarter meter. Did that? Yes. Okay, here it is. All fabric is sold in quarter meter increments and cut in full length. If you want 1 meter, select quantity 4. This doesn't mean that your fabric will come in 4 quarter meter pieces. It will come as one continuous 1 meter piece. That is good to know. So it's $5.50. Seems to be the price on this particular collection, a quarter meter. So that makes it, yeah, that's $22 a meter. So they are on the upper end of the price scale here. Okay, let's go back and see if all of their fabric is at that price under the collection. So let's just grab one random here. Nope. Some of it's more expensive. Oh, that's wide back. Okay. This is $5.75 though, a quarter meter. So that's putting it even more expensive, more like about $24 a meter. So yeah, their prices are a little high. Although, having said that, it looks like they're dealing with some very high-end collections. But what about ordinary, like a selection of ordinary quilting cotton that may not come from a specific collection? Like, how do I find that? I don't know. They do have Kona solids. And not a bad price, $3.50 a quarter meter. So that's what? $14 for a solid Kona cotton. So yeah, that's a reasonable price, and they have lots of it. So they seem to really focus on Kona. What's under blenders? Oops, slipped away here. Just back in this. Blenders. $4.50, $5, $5.50. So the price is a range from about $18 to about $24 a meter. Again, prices are a little high. Lots to choose from. So I guess you need to go through this page by page if you're looking for something very specific, and it's under the blender section. So yeah, I question the classification of that as being all blenders. They do have batiks. And $5, $5.50 a quarter meter. And yeah, for batiks do tend to sometimes be a little bit more on the expensive side, so I don't think that's an unfair price. And they have pages of batiks, and they look fairly much like the standard batiks that you can get almost everywhere. Okay, flannels. I'm not interested in flannel. Well, we'll take a look. $5.50, $4.50 a quarter meter. 12 pages of flannel. So if you're into flannel, there might be something there for you. Holiday. So Christmas. Again, it seems that their average price for fabric is about $22 a meter. Which, yeah, it's a little high on some of their fabrics that go up a little bit more than that. But I guess given what the prices are these days, that's in the ballpark. Okay, anything else under fabric we would like to take a look at? Well, pre-cuts and bundles. And they've got nothing to choose from. Okay. Yeah. Their selection in pre-cuts and is almost non-existent. Quilt kits. Well, yeah, a few. Not really a great selection there either in kits. Let's check wide backs. Well, they have some wide backs that are a little bit different. I haven't seen some of these before. $8. I'm assuming that's $8 a quarter meter. So $32 for a 108-inch wide back. Not a terribly extensive collection. Yeah, that's really probably the going price, $30 to $32 and up. So yeah, they're in the ballpark, but really a couple of ones that kind of pique my interest, but really not a lot here. Let's go to their second page and see. Yeah, not a lot to choose from. So I think we've exhausted now this section. Fabric selection choice, it's okay. Price-wise, depending on what you buy, it's a little high. I would have rather seen a section that just listed everything, like the quilting cotton or something like that, rather than having it just under blenders. But anyways, okay, let's take a look at the thread. They have Wonderfill, Metler, pre-wound bobbins, and thread packs. So I do not use any of these brands, but let's just see what they're charging. 1,000 meter spool of the confetti, 1270, and for smaller spools, 440. I think that's about average. Oops, I think that's about average price. Metler. Metler's not always easy to, or is not readily available in my area. 950. Not a selection of thread. So that's okay, and I think the prices are in the ballpark. Pre-wound bobbin. Oh, Wonderfill ones. Okay. I'm not a fan of the Wonderfill pre-wound bobbins. I have used them in the past, but as you know, I get all mine from Monfil in Quebec. Price-wise, yeah, what you'd expect. And anything else under thread? Thread packs. Well, they're showing pre-wound again. Invisifil, Metler. Okay. Again, I don't buy a lot of different colors of threads. I mean, black. That's pretty much all I use, unless it's for quilting. On my long arm. Notions, probably the standard things: cutting tool, measure, marking, batting. Okay, let's check out their batting. What do they got? Fuse Flex by Behind the Seams, Peller Decor Bond, Steam a Seam Light, SF 101, Fusible Shear Weight, Shape Flex, Fusible Fleece, Wonder Under. Okay, where's the batting? Well, am I missing something here? They said batting. These are not. Well, what's this one? Pella 988. Bat. So no, it's a sew-in lightweight sew-in needle punched fleece. Let's just look at this. Polyester. Yeah, this is not really batting. This is more interfacing kind of thing. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have much there in that. They do have patterns. Excuse me. And the average price, 5 pages of it. Yeah, you could search through that. Okay, DIY kits. Oh, these are for making little novelty items. Bracelets, paper kits. Okay. Home decor and gift. So it looks like they branch out a little bit more beyond just quilting supplies, cards, things like that. So they're kind of a general store in a way. They even have jewelry. Okay, some novelty earrings here, I guess. Might make nice gifts. What's on clearance? $4.50 for clearance. So that's not really, you're not saving a lot. And in my opinion, most of this is pretty ugly. I'm sorry. Not my, I should say not ugly, not part of my aesthetic. That might be a better way to put it. Oh God, no. Okay. Classes and sew days. So they've got some table runner classes, fidget quilts, embroidering classes. Yeah. This one interests me. the family travel organizer. But I don't live in the area, so I don't think I'll be taking that. Did I miss anything? Little blurb about who they are. And FAQs, long arm FAQ. So if you want long arming, they will do that. Restash. Okay, I'm not seeing anything about shipping. They offer free shipping on orders over $200. So let's just go back into fabric. Let's pick solids. Let's add this one to our cart. Let's put in a couple of meters. So I need to go to 8. Add to cart. Checkout. Okay, I assume that this is, I have to enter my email address to find out what it is. It doesn't say whether it's Canada, that it's Canada Post, but I have a feeling it probably is. Let me just fill out a dummy thing here and be back. So it looks like it probably comes by Canada Post, but it looks like they have sort of a flat rate shipping of a little over $14. I tried it on a couple of meters of a fabric, and then I doubled the order, and it came up the same price. So yeah, $14, if that is a flat rate, which they don't really tell you here whether or not it is, that's not too bad. And of course, if you get free shipping on orders over $200. So anyways, what do I think of this? What am I going to rate it? Well, it's okay. The interface for looking for things is fairly intuitive. I would like to have seen, instead of calling it blenders, had like quilting cotton or something like that as a section. Price-wise, they are about average to a little bit higher. Selection-wise, okay. In some areas, other areas lacking. And I would have liked to have had more details about what it was going to cost for shipping before I actually went into the shipping cart. So overall, I think I'm going to give them about a 6 out of 10. And yeah, you may want to check it out. They did have some fabrics that were a little different that I hadn't seen before. So, you know, if you're looking for something really special, you might want to check out Quiltful. So that brings me to the end of this episode of The Idiot Quilter. And just a reminder again, Pop-Up Sew Day this coming Saturday, March the 8th. For those of you that might be seeing this after that date. So March the 8th, links are in the show note for that. And advance notice, retreat, the Idiot Quilter Spring Retreat, will take place on Saturday, April the 26th. We're a ways from it now, but I will be putting up more information very soon about that, so stay tuned. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you later. Bye for now.